What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Melanin Money Show, right? And as you know, we always try to bring on great guests who do great things, but I think this episode is going to be really unique. It's not every day that someone can teach you how to make sure you can preserve the very thing that's allowing us to have this platform here today. So
that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
You don't think about it like that.
Yeah,
but
this podcast can't happen. We don't have a voice.
Right, absolutely. So with no further ado, welcome to the show.
Yeah, amazing, Mr. Shayla. Thank you for coming to the show. Introduce the people to who you are and kind of a little bit about. I'm interested to know how you got into doing what you do.
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah.
Hold on. She needs a bigger intro. The celebrity
vocal coach.
Like, she is it. Okay, I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, no, I've been doing this for almost like 18 years as a celebrity vocal coach, but I'm a celebrity vocal health expert and performance expert coach. Because what happens sometimes you get a big misunderstanding that it's just for singers, but no, I deal with speakers, high performing speakers and singers that need vocal health etiquette, need vocal health practices and holistic practices in order to keep the voice to secure the bag. So I've been doing it for a very long time, and I got into it because I needed a solution to a problem. Okay. I myself was dealing with severe vocal problems, and at the time I was broke in college. I could not afford health insurance. Went to an ear, nose, and throat doctor, and they told me it would cost a whole lot of money that I didn't have.
Yeah.
And so I took the degrees that I had and, research and talking to a lot of different professionals in the industry as far as in the vocal world. And I was able to heal my own self holistically from vocal nodules, which are bumps, callus that grow on both sides of your vocal cords and causes hoarseness and raspiness and complete voice loss. And so, starting my career in doing that, I was also touring and traveling with a lot of singers, and they used to say, Shayla, go to her, she'll know what to do. And I realized, wait a minute, I'm on something here.
So you were a singer and you were helping other people.
Oh, okay.
I was a singer and helping other people, absolutely, and a speaker too. So it wasn't just I was in both realms, right? And doing it, and also teaching part-time. And so I think teaching really, because it's so hard on the vocal folds, I think that's what really caused the vocal problems. But I really had an opportunity to tour, my first professional tour, and I couldn't tell them that I had nodules. So I had to do something fast and quick.
Because they'll probably cut you and got somebody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So was the solution fast, or was it like a process?
No, it's not a quick fix. It was a process. But the thing about it is that you have to continuously, it's like an athlete. You have to continuously work. We are all vocal athletes here.
Gotcha.
Right? Yeah. This muscle is just used when you speak, like we're doing this podcast.
Right.
So you don't see LeBron just get on, play off and he just get on the court and just do anything. No, they have to work on the off season. They have to do a lot of different things, right? Stretch, things like that. So, I had to implement all those practices in order to be able to become vocally healthy and continuously have to do it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, when people say like vocal coach, right? When people hear you say that, like again, when I first met you at the Mastermind in Miami, I was like, that's a thing? Like people pay for that? 'Cause I didn't see the importance, right?
Absolutely.
To be completely transparent. So what would you say to somebody who said like, I don't need a vocal coach, or why would I need a vocal coach, right?
Okay, so let's talk about speakers, right? So for example, you do a mastermind, right? All right, can we math it?
Yes, math it.
All right,
I love it. Let's math it.
So let's map the voice, right? And really and truly, your voice is invaluable.
Facts.
All right, like really, no one can really afford your voice, like the value of it. But let's just math it, just for mathing. So let's say you do a mastermind, right? How much do you charge?
$25,000.
$25,000 for a mastermind, right? Let's say you were doing something like a one-day event. Okay. All right, and how many people would you have at the one-day event?
30 people.
30 people, and how much?
Probably about
high end.
Yeah. Maybe at least if it's a one-day event, at least 10,000. Get 30 people. That's a good day.
Okay, so 10,000 a high end, right? With 30, how much money is that?
300,000.
That's 300,000, right? All right, cool. Let's just work with that. Okay. All right, so you come into a hotel room. You didn't know the hotel was moldy. You wake up, mold toxicity happens. Your voice goes, right? You got to go stand in front of 30 people that just paid you $10,000, right? That's $300,000 right there. That literally costs, but that's not all. Then you have an upsell at the end.
Yeah, because that's that one day to get them onto my program.
Why? Because amateurs make money on the front end.
Experts make money in the back end.
Boom. So if you were to upsell 30 people, and let's say the conversion rate is like what, 30, 40%?
Mm-hmm.
And what would be the high ticket offer?
The high ticket offer would be $25,000.
$25,000. Let's say 10 people sign 100%.
23,000
plus 300,000.
That's
That's $500,000.
And just because I can't perform that one day and I can't get it back, and I got to issue refunds.
Yeah.
Because I can't perform.
And then not only that, then you have to deal with the emotional stress of that, because anxiety takes over. You know, all of those things take over, and so yeah, it's a mess. A financial mess, an emotional mess, a physical mess.
Right.
Oh, it completely affects you holistically.
Not to mention the bad brand equity you have with these people who promise to show.
Because your voice is your brand. At the end of the day, you think about it. Look at all the powerful voices that are out there: the Tony Robbins, the Les Browns, the Neos, the ETs. Right? You don't have to see them to know their voice. Every voice here has a configuration, just like an NFT.
She's talking heavy now.
I've never seen somebody spin voice the way that.
Yeah, just like an NFT. If you look at the monkeys, right? We're just gonna say the monkeys, right? Yeah. That they all look the same in some way, but what makes them special is that they all have their own special configuration. Right. The way in which your voice box is, everyone has a special configuration in which the frequencies of the vibrations of your vocal cords actually come out. So that's where we can tell the difference between your voice, and your voice. And then of course hormonal changes and stuff like that. Right. So you need to see, as a matter of fact, I believe sooner or later the voice will also be some sort of equity or NFT out there. Let's call it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. we need to look into that.
I'm still in that. I'm gonna give you credit though.
But seriously, it's a lot more than most people don't think. When you step into the room and we go downstairs, besides the music playing, right? All you hear is voices.
Got it.
All you hear is money.
Got it. And there's a lot of people in our mastermind that make money from their voice of what they have to teach. Right. You can't teach. Because again, I thought unless you were a celebrity singer, this was relevant to you only.
No.
But it sounds like it's relevant.
This is for podcasters, sports commentators, voiceover actors, actresses, red carpet correspondents, educators, politicians, lawyers, anyone that uses their voice for career advancement or to scale. Right. Okay, so people that do audiobooks. People that not just do podcasts, people that do one-day events, webinars, IG lives,
sell yourself. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's why I tell people I am the person you never knew that you needed.
Yeah, and I think we're all just kind of at a loss for words.
Exactly.
No pun intended. But so, like, what's the first thing that an entrepreneur or speaker, podcaster, what's the first thing they should do to start taking care of their voice?
Well, I'll say the first thing that you do is you have to have a contingency plan. And I think lots of times people never think about the contingency plan. So that's why lots of times, especially when I'm speaking, especially to high earning entrepreneurs or high people that are into the digital market as well, I always ask them, do you have voice insurance? No one thinks about that.
No.
So for example,
I didn't even know it existed.
That's a thing.
Until you mentioned it, I didn't know it was a thing. And it's funny because we all come from the financial advisory world. And
like
so we tell people that they are their biggest asset. But we don't talk about their voice.
Absolutely.
Right.
What if one day you woke up, all three of you woke up and you no longer had a voice?
Crazy.
Game changer.
What's that movie?
Can you mime a podcast?
What's that movie? What's that movie? What's the movie where he only has like so many words to speak?
Oh,
the leaves fall off the tree.
Yeah, the famous actor.
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy. I forget the name of the movie, but yeah.
We gotta work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. You woke up and you can no longer speak. Can you mime an IG live?
No.
Can you sign language a podcast? You're gonna have to develop a whole nother skill, right? A whole nother level. Right?
So do we need to do that? Is that the contingency plan?
That's one. That's just no. That's not the contingency plan. Is voice insurance, right? Mm-hmm. But outside of that, you need a coach. You need someone. You never see Serena Williams. You never see Steph Curry. You never see LeBron James or Michael Jordan, or you never see none of these people. Kobe, right? You never see none of these people as great as they are without coaches, on season and off season.
Right. I think that it's a mindset shift, because what happens is we think of coach like y'all in masterminds, right? So it's like you think of coaches like I'm getting someone to coach me on my skill set further, but if I don't have a voice, the skill set doesn't matter
at all.
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot of different things. So let's just kind of go down. So first thing I would say, definitely mindset shift to know that, wait a minute, no, there's equity on my voice. My voice has more than what it is. So at the end of the day, I can't just see my voice as, I just use it. No. Lots of times people are not aware of how much they use their voice in the day.
Right.
Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Negotiating calls and deals, closing deals, right? Speaking with clients. You use your voice for that all the time besides email correspondence. But how people really get to close deals with you is by having conversations with you, because vocal inflections actually builds trust. So if I can speak to you and I can hear the tones of your voice, it allows me to know if I can trust you with giving you 10K, 20K, 350K or not. That's why some people say, can I talk to them first before I do this? There's a reason for that.
Right. So let me ask you this as a quick tangent. So with what you help people with, do you help them understand? Like they might already be successful at what they do. Absolutely. They might not understand the nuance of, hey, when you do speak, do you use these inflections or these things that build trust? Or
Absolutely.
Is that a part of your?
Yeah. The only time that people come to me with that is when they have no voice.
Gotcha.
And that's when they realize, whoa, right? Hold on. And so lots of times people don't pay attention if they don't pay. So sometimes if you give them free information, they're like, yeah. But when something valuable goes and you realize that, yo, it's messing with my bag.
The pain.
That's when the pain, that's when people come and say, okay, what do I do? And there is no quick fix for hoarseness. So let me just say this, because from a physiological standpoint, a lot of people have a misconception about what that is. So you have a sore throat, right?
My voice is pretty hoarse right now.
Right. The sore throat has nothing to do with hoarseness.
Okay.
Right? So a sore throat is where your throat is actually sore, it's swollen, and you may be feeling some pain like when you swallow. But hoarseness is going into the actual voice box, and your vocal cords start to become inflamed. And what happens is a lot of singers and speakers, for example, and you all have probably done it and didn't know. And I remember you reaching out to me and saying, hey, my voice. Lots of times people try to use throat remedies to fix a vocal fold issue, right? And you don't miss it. So when you're drinking water, when you're drinking tea, when you're doing a lozenge, when you're doing those things, you're like, yo, I'm doing all of that and it's still not coming back. It's because none of those things touch your vocal cords. Now that's for another day. That's the science behind it.
Yeah. But it's safe to say you know your stuff.
Doing it for a very, very long time. You know, and so definitely getting a coach, voice, but you also have to learn proper vocal utilization of your voice. Right? So breathing techniques, inflections, warming up the voice, cooling down the voice after you finish speaking, right? All of those things are important. You know, how do you handle stress? Because stress also affects the voice. All right. How do you handle emotional stress, anger, rage, guilt, all those things, anxiety, depression, they all literally can cause the voice to tense up. And so when you're feeling like, oh my God, something's wrong or it's tense, it could be because of the fact that you've been highly stressed and your anxiety is up.
Gotcha.
And that within itself can take your voice.
And so what are some physical things that we can avoid doing?
Yes.
Like we talked, like drinking probably is one of the things. That's why my voice is hoarse. It's hoarse in the past and today. But like, what's some things that we can physically avoid doing? So that we don't have vocal cords?
So first things first, I will say is you definitely have to watch your diet. Okay. You sound like what you eat.
And that's a bar.
You sound like what you eat. And so there's a lot of misconceptions out there that dairy is the only thing that causes like phlegm and mucus, but it's anything that's like white processed. So processed rice, white rice, white bread, all those things actually causes something called histamine to rise in your body. Histamine is what leads to infection and inflammation. So when you're finding yourself getting hoarse all the time, it's because if you went and you had that rice, and then you did that chicken, and then you had that bread, and then you had like all the dairy with it, you are a mucus-enhancing machine. Too much mucus in the body is not good. Gotcha. It causes inflammation. So what I would say is first things first, you want to monitor your mucus-enhancing foods. So things like chicken, beef, and I'm going to say you can't have them.
Right.
Moderation is key. So if you look at your plate and everything is just mucus on there, more than likely you're going to end up waking up with some sort of inflammation, some sort of congestion, clogginess, phlegm, things like that. And then you're going to find yourself speaking harder on your voice because you think that you're clearing your throat all the time.
What's up, guys? Congratulations on joining Team Blackwell. But we'd be remiss if we didn't give you a uniform as an official player on the team. So head over to shop.melaninmoney.com and grab your official uniform for Wealth Builders of Color. We'll see y'all in practice.
Right? So things like I said, soy, corn, bread, chicken, beef, pork, salty foods, sodas, alcohol, right? Another thing is you have to watch your acid levels. All right. So the alcohol, the reason why your voice is going is because alcohol is acidic.
Gotcha.
So when it goes into your stomach already has a high pH acidity. So you're adding more to that. All right. And when you're sleeping at night, especially if you're sleeping on the right side, it's not the best side to sleep on because your stomach is upside down.
Wow.
So when your stomach's upside down, that acid from the alcohol, it comes up through your esophagus and it goes right into that voice box because you're not swallowing. And so you wake up and you're like, yo, what's going on? You literally have acid pockets in your throat. So when you're feeling the soreness and a sore throat, you got to watch your alcohol level. It's what we call laryngophalangeal reflux, right? Big word for acid reflux. What's it? Laryngophalangeal reflux. It's just acid reflux in the voice box.
Gotcha.
So that could be one of the reasons. Another could be the fact that you are dehydrated. You're not drinking enough water, or you're doing a lot of caffeinated things, or you're not taking care of yourself by covering up in cold weather, or, you're sleeping under vents, allergies, sinus, all those things too. You have to be really, really mindful of that and watch over-the-counter medication and decongestants because they're dehydrating. So how do you know if you're dealing with dehydration as a speaker or a podcaster? If you're constantly clearing your throat all the time, you may just be dehydrated. It doesn't matter how much water you drink. If you're consuming a lot of caffeine, like coffee, alcohol, that's drying out the vocal cords.
And most people drink and then eat coffee in the morning.
Exactly.
And then they have
so it's
problems.
like insult to injury.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of maladaptive behaviors.
Got you. So quick question. You've probably seen a lot in your industry, right?
Yeah.
What's the biggest horror, maybe horror is dramatic, story that you've seen where someone they had maybe an event with 30,000 people, but they just their voice was gone, right? Like what's the big, where someone just mainly finally clicked for them, yo, I gotta.
Absolutely. I'll use Justin Timberlake, for example. Justin Timberlake had to cancel an entire tour, half of his tour, because of something called vocal hemorrhaging. So when you don't utilize the folds properly and you're constantly going on the folds, you can cause blood to come into your vocal cords and cause a hemorrhage to happen.
Wow.
John Mayer, Maxwell, a whole bunch of people, and if you hear all rasp is not good rasp. All right. So if you hear somebody raspy all the time, that's not good. And so the horror story is, how much money he lost from that?
Can't even imagine.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And then he had to cancel a tour, so he has to pay back people, refund tickets.
Right.
Money he already spent on probably marketing the tour more.
Absolutely.
Or non-refundable things he did for the tour already.
And for the tour already. And things like that within itself can tarnish a brand.
Right.
We've seen even people, and I'm just going to use people because these are people in the public's eye.
Right.
So we've even seen people's careers at the end of their life just not be like a Whitney.
Right.
Right. Just her voice just wasn't the same. Bobby Brown or a JoJo, or Casey and JoJo, their voices are just not the same.
Right.
And there's a lot of speakers out there too whose voices are completely just
Tony Robbins is
right to say I didn't, but yes. And funny enough, I think the irony of this whole thing is that it brands him.
No, I mean, he's the guy with the raspy voice, and this is what it is.
It's the guy with the raspy voice, but not everyone. Let me just say this: not everyone can tolerate that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us may not be able to tolerate certain frequencies of voice. Yes. And so a lot of people like him, there are a lot of people that just cannot tune into him, not because he's not saying something that's real or that he can't really convince people.
Right.
His voice is irritating.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And branding,
So I really want you to talk to us a little bit more about the holistic health. But before we dive into that, we got a 5-star review that I'd like to share really quickly. This is from the Izzy Connect. Nourishment for the mind, body, soul, and pocket. I've been asleep. Thank you for waking me up. I am one of the keeping up with the Joneses era, so kind of late to the game, but so much information in one podcast recording. Now, this is a super, super long review, so I won't read the whole thing. But basically, they said the value in what you're sharing with the world is immeasurable. So
thank you.
The Izzy Connect, we appreciate you. We appreciate your 5-star review. Again, they titled it Nourishment for the Mind, Body, Soul, and Pocket.
And our voice.
And our voice. Because you say mind, body, soul, and you came out and you're like, well, I'm not just a vocal coach, I'm a holistic.
Yeah.
So can you share with us?
I mean, I'm not just a vocal coach. I'm a businesswoman that happens to be a vocal coach.
Because we were talking about the bag in a second. It's a Melanin Money show. We got to talk about the bag. You don't have to get a Rolex like this just doing nothing. You know what I'm saying?
But I believe, I'm a believer. So I believe that God literally created natural things for us to heal ourselves. I believe that there are things that the mind can do that can heal us, right? And there's foods and things that we can do to really nourish the soul. And the one thing that people don't understand is that your voice is an empath. It's an empath. So the voice is connected to the body, the soul, the mind, and everything like that. So if any one of those things are off course, the voice gets off course. completely. There's actually something called muscle tension dysphonia, right? Which is actually, dysphonia is just a fancy word saying hoarseness. It comes strictly because of muscle tension.
Wow.
Do you understand? So if you've had a bad day, lost money, something went wrong with your podcast or something like that, or just, a client, ticks you off or something like that, literally your voice box will feel it and it will automatically tighten. So when you start to feel a ring around your throat or a lump in your throat, or you just feel like just something's not right, it's because your voice is literally just adjusting to life with you. And your voice goes through life with you completely.
So that's why people say, I feel like I have a lump in my throat. Absolutely.
A lump in your throat can be a lot of things: acid reflux, dehydration, muscle tension, right? Improper use of the voice as you speak. Right, it could be all of those things.
I mean, and being this is the Melanin Money Show, now we understand as a podcast and just as entrepreneurs how much money we can lose from not having a voice. So if I'm in this place, like, all right, I want to take a better care of my voice, how do I know when? Obviously outside of you, how do I know how to find a good vocal coach, and like, how much should I be willing to spend on a vocal coach? Like,
well, this is what I say: you spend as much as you know you're worth.
Okay.
Because lots of times the best is not always the cheapest, and the cheapest is not always the best, right? And so I've seen a lot of people go to cheap people because it's cheaper, and then what happens is that person really does not have value. They don't know many things, and it makes it worse.
Right.
And so one of the things I always say to vocal coaches, you need insurance too. Because if you give somebody the wrong thing, they can end up suing you. Right? So how do you look for a vocal coach? I think you want to make sure that the vocal coach is versed. Well, first you can come to me.
Right.
Because I certify vocal coaches.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
so you have other coaches under you.
I have other coaches under me. I'm in demand. I can't teach everybody. Yes. So I scale myself that way, where I actually train vocal coaches because there was a lack of integrity with information. And I'm like, no. Y'all going to learn my curriculum and learn to teach. So that if I have to say, Carter, I need you to go and see Carter today to do something, I can't be there because I'm with someone else. I have a coach that I know is proficient and actually equipped to come and do it for you. And you can trust them because you trust me. Right?
The systems,
it's
the business
systems.
woman.
He said, look, I told you.
Systems, right? And so you want to make sure that person knows what they're doing in vocal health and anatomy. You need to know that that person is giving you the correct techniques to do when it comes to warm-ups and cool-downs. You need to make sure the person...
some exercises?
Sure.
Just like
So I did this with Neo Davis this morning. We were getting ready for his mastermind. One of the things you could do is just get a plastic cup, like a coffee cup or something like that, or you can even get a coffee straw. Do we have coffee straws here?
I think we. No,
I don't think we.
If you don't have any coffee straws, that's okay.
I can check.
But you could get a coffee cup, a plastic cup or a paper cup. Just get a little bit of a hole on the bottom of it. All right, and when you put it in the bottom of it, what that's called is SOVT exercises. Okay. It just means semi-occluded vocal tract. That's for you. So take it out, Carter, because you're
it's
a little
stick,
hoarse.
but you can show it.
All right. So what you're gonna do is it's a stick, right? But you can, but that's good because it has a hole in it, correct?
No. All
right. So if it was a coffee straw, what you could do in the morning, like for you all, and you should do this every day.
Okay.
You could get a small coffee straw. The smaller the hole, the greater the resistance.
Okay.
So what that does is it causes air to circulate back into your voice box. It meets the air coming up through your lungs, your trachea, and it creates something called subglottal pressure that relaxes the muscles around your vocal cords so that your muscles can stretch, so that you can be the best sounding at the best sounding quality that you should, right? Okay. And every single person needs to make sure that your voice is at its best when you're doing these things. Gotcha. So all you have to do is you can actually do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You can read something and just do it through the straw. That's going to actually relax the muscles. Or if you don't have a straw, you can get the cup, bore a small hole at the bottom of it, and just speak. And you can do things like sirens. So you can go, ooh. You don't have to sing it, just ooh. It's waking up the voice without going so hard on the voice, right? You have to stretch the muscle, your vocal athletes.
Yes.
All right, you have to do that. You should do it when you start, and you should do it at the end of the day, but cool down.
Gotcha.
Right? Just like how you would work out and you cool down.
I love the term vocal athlete because, as you know, as men, well, as athletes on the podcast, we all know the importance of stretching before and after a game. Right. We never do it for our voices, and having the show, maybe that's something we need to keep in mind.
Absolutely, because your voice will tell on you. And if you don't do it, you're going to find that you're going to be overexerting your voice for no reason. And you're wondering, why is my voice like getting tired on me? It's because you literally went hold on it. You can't do that. You won't do that on the court.
Yeah.
Why would you do it with your voice?
What's going on, guys? I'm George.
I'm Jacqueline.
And I'm Carter.
And we are your money mentors. But today we wanted to talk to you about a really special feature, Financial Flicks. Can you imagine an entire on-demand library of financial content across 3 main categories: wealth building, entrepreneurship, and personal finance, so that you can take your finances to the next level?
Guys, when you replace entertainment with education, your life will change forever. Imagine replacing 1 hour of Netflix with 1 hour of Financial Flicks. Imagine how much further that could take you to your financial destination. And we have the perfect library for you.
Yeah, so if you're ready to financial flicks and chill with us to put more of your energy into education, then join us in the club. We can't wait to see you there.
See you there.
Relax.
I feel I'm gonna like admit this. I didn't know it was like maybe wrong, but I like music, and so to warm up my voice before I start talking, like on podcasting or whatever, in the mornings I'll sing. That's my thing. But it sounds like I'm going too hard because I can't sing at all, and I'm trying to hit the high note.
Right in the shower.
I would definitely not go hard like that. I think there's a misconception too. Like, you don't have to do that. That's like saying you're gonna go, like, you literally get up and you just sprint.
Right.
You understand? Like, no, you won't do that. You can end up hurting yourself more, right? And injuring yourself, and you can do a lot of damage that way. So what I would just say is just kind of like gently you said the shower, perfect. Put the steam on and just breathe through your nostril and just do like what we call like beat, like the buzzing beat. And keep going all the way up and then work your way back down. So you do the buzzing beat with the Z sound as well.
Gotcha.
And that'll also help you all to wake your voice up.
Wow.
And make sure that you stretch your muscle so that you can be the best sounding that you need to be. Because all of you all have a branded voice. Right?
And it's so fun. I mean, you hear it, but you don't think about it. Like, I was watching something the other day. My wife was like, "Is that Denzel?" She was in the other room, but she knew his voice, right?
Yeah.
But you don't think about how powerful your voice, not even the voice from the impact from what you're teaching.
Yeah.
Literally the sound.
The sound of
your
Freeman,
voice.
TD
Right.
Jakes, Morgan Freeman.
Right.
All of these people have brandable voices.
Right.
And I think people don't understand that. People are not just paying just to see you, but people pay for the voice itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so for every single person on here, I don't want you to see your voice ever the same again. I want you to see your voice as, wait a minute, my voice has an actual configuration that can make me a lot.
I like that.
Right. Because we think about it like, oh, they're hiring that person because they're a celebrity and they're well known. They're hiring that person because their voice is so distinct. And then from what I learned from you, there's a level of trust embedded in the tonality of their voice.
There's a level of trust embedded. That's why, we know someone like Coach Kelly. That's why she could do what she does.
Yeah.
Because she's learned how to master the psychology of the voice. She's learned how to master inflections. So when she says, "Come a little closer to me," Tabitha Brown is a perfect example.
Oh,
You know why Tabitha Brown is Tabitha Brown?
Yeah,
It's not because she's beautiful and she's pretty, she's a vegan. No. It was, hello there. Yeah. That is the moneymaker.
Right.
Wow.
So, okay. So I like that. Now I feel like I need to alter my voice.
In what way?
Like, I mean, I love those warming tones. I feel like I have a very distinct way of communicating. They know this. But I feel like one of the biggest hurdles for a lot of us, especially getting like on social media, right? Like now video is the thing. And a lot of us want to talk because we can't dance.
Yeah.
Or is that just
Speak
me?
for yourself.
I will dance. So, but I feel like confidence is what's lacking, right? So there'll be certain times you pull out your phone and you, especially as women, like talk, and then I'm like, I don't like the way my voice sounded. I'm just going to delete it. Or I'm going to redo it because I just don't like the way my voice sounds.
Yeah.
So what's your recommendation?
Yeah, no, so that's good because one of the biggest complaints that I get from, it doesn't matter how long you've been speaking, there's a lot of people that deal with vocal insecurity and lack of vocal acceptance. And what we find is that a lot of people that are dealing with vocal insecurity is a lot deeper than just the voice. It's really more self-acceptance.
Yikes.
Right? We've been finding with people that deal with stage performance anxiety, stage fright. We find a lot of people that deal with performance anxiety and stage fright also deals with anxiety itself. About 73% of people do that nationally, right? So because of that, what I would say to something like that is I would definitely get with a coach that can actually do vocal affirmations with you to learn to accept the sound of your voice. And if there's something that has like an inclination of something that we can actually direct, but you don't want to change the algorithm of your voice though.
Right.
You know
It's still you.
Yeah.
Because it's still you at the end of the day. So it's really about, it's like very much so when we were listening to a speaker talk, Nick, you know, and he was saying about, I took what I had, and even though I could have seen it negatively, I turned it positively. So alter may not be the word. I would say learn to discover all the good things about your voice, and then the things that that are adjustable that would make it even better, but not take away from who you are. Then you can find a coach to work with you on that, right? Because I can give you all the methods in the world, but if you still don't believe that your voice is enough, it doesn't do anything. So it's mindset over skill set.
Wow.
First.
So another quick question, as they say, asking for a friend.
Yeah.
So to your point, it's not about changing your voice, but it's no doubt that speaking is a skill set, right? Some people get on stage and like they got it, right?
Yeah.
So like, what are maybe some fundamental tips and tricks that you can like share with us, like, because you've seen so many great speakers, like things where like they're able to do, it's just like, man, they're captivating the audience, they're bringing them in. Like, what are some things that people can do who love their voice, but are looking to better refine? Maybe that's
so diction definitely defines like resonation, right? So we want to make sure that you're still working on practicing your diction, working on making sure that you still practice of how to speak in front of a camera. Like never not stop learning.
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like if you play ball and forever, you'll get back on the court and just, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You gotta okay, that makes sense.
You have to. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't see the value in it, you're not gonna do anything.
Right.
And I think lots of times, the only time that not the only time, but most times when people finally find the value is when it matters most in a situation where there's a lot at stake.
Yeah.
We like to operate out of a place of crisis, like everybody does. Like something happens and you're like, oh,
now I need
now.
Now
so before that happens, can you give us the math of, I was gonna say life insurance, but vocal insurance? Is that what it's called technically?
So some people will say disability, some people will say certain things, but look at it this way: J-Lo,
love her.
She insured her butt.
Did she?
You can insure.
I didn't know.
James Harden shoot his beard.
He did?
Yeah. So
absolutely.
James shoot his beard.
Tina Turner, she insured her legs. Cher insured her legs. Mono insured his voice. Whatever the moneymaker is for you that brands you, it is absolutely imperative that you insure it. And so when it comes to that, most people would say disability, but really it's partial body insurance, but it's probably one of the greatest assets. I've heard somebody say that the greatest asset is your mind. I don't disagree with it. I will just continue it further and say the greatest assets are your mind and your voice.
You can't project what's in your mind if you can't
speak it out. I mean, you can write it out, of course.
So probably like own occupation rider, like on disability insurance.
Absolutely.
So it's a rider like on the disability.
Yes, but you have to be able to do it through someone that specializes in speakers, entertainment.
Got it.
Right. So it has to be it's a specialty.
Okay.
So right, exactly. So I go through a broker, but then I'm the agent, and you come through me, and then my team does everything for you.
Got it.
Okay.
And because I'm a trusted individual, and I'm a trusted coach, then it's like Ashaala got me. I'm good.
Vertical integration. That's what you got going.
The financial industry, like your financial advisor also finds you an accountant, insurance, the real estate agent. Like, you know what I'm saying?
So I have influencer clients. Now I'm like, oh, we gotta add this to the list.
So right.
I know kind of what the cost of disability is, and for those watching it, I mean, it varies on your income, what you're making, all that. So what is that?
So for on the low end for me, if my team is going to come and do it with you, on the low end for one individual, just for coverage for a year, where we're able to do the policy for you, brokerage, everything like that, it starts at $10K.
Okay.
All right.
And that's per year for insurance?
That's per year per individual, and it's a la carte, right? It starts at $10K, but it depends on what the policy is, because I have some clients that may not need a $2 million policy. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to just my services, it starts at $10K. And then we just kind of see what are the needs and how much we need to put on your voice. You see what I'm saying? And it depends on where you are, exactly. Because if you're ET who's charging $50,000 to $75,000 per speaker, or Myron Golden or somebody, or a Tony Robbins, their insurance is going to be a lot more, which means that the cost is going to be a little bit more.
Wait, I want to get really granular. So normally there's a waiting period, like 30, 60, 90 days.
Absolutely.
How long?
I would say you have to give me 30 days, because we have to just make sure that we go through the whole entire thing. And then my team actually does it for you. So because of that, we have to go through a process. So we start with a 2-week process first. We get all the information that we need, get with my broker, and we take it from there. So I normally tell people to do that.
No. So I mean, not to get the policy in that.
Yeah.
I mean, like the actual policy itself.
Right.
So like, say I lost. Is that what you're talking about? Say I lost my voice for 90 days. Like my policy would kick in at 90 days.
What's going on, guys? My name is George Acheampong.
I'm Jacqueline Shattuck.
And I'm Carter Cofield.
And we are the founders of Melanin Money. And the reason why we started Melanin Money is because we know that there's a great disparity when it comes to building wealth among people of color. We have a tremendous mission that we want you guys to join, right? Every single year, we want to help at least 1,000 people improve their net worth by $100,000, which will create $100 million of new Black wealth every single year.
Can you imagine $100 million of new Black wealth every year? As it stands right now, for every $1 that a white family has, a Black family has a mere 10 cents to match that dollar. We want to increase the wealth in the Black community so that we can have equal opportunities.
Simply put, we're about closing the wealth gap, and it starts with you.
So, see you inside.
Well, so if you lost your voice, for 90 days,
Yeah,
Like, I guess, like, how does the policy work? Where like, I have this event,
the mechanics of it.
and it doesn't. I can't speak at it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my policy is in place with that. They give me the money back I recoup from not being able to do that.
Right. Well, of course. So it would be up to 60 days because
Okay.
at the end of the day, we have to just make sure, like, because you know, fraud.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we still have to make sure it's legit. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
then anybody could be claiming I lost my
I
voice.
can't-
You know,
I can't
it could be-
speak.
right, I can't speak and different things like that.
Yeah.
So it's up to 60 days, right? It
Okay.
could be even sooner, but it really depends on the severity of the situation and where. Yeah.
That 60, like I can't imagine losing my voice for 60 days.
That's
In all
Oh no,
honesty.
but it happens.
So that's really scary to me.
Can you say
No.
that?
The average person that deals with vocal nodules and hemorrhaging can lose their voice up to 6 months. That's the consequence of not being able to take care of the voice.
Which is why you got to be proactive.
Not only that, but a lot of people try to do quick fixes by going to doctors and having surgery. Surgery is only a corrective measure. It's not a preventative measure. So you can go get surgery, but if you still don't fix the behavior,
It's
it'll
like
come
anything
back
else.
again. And then
Right.
people don't ever think about the recovery after surgery.
Right.
So you have some people that have had real severe damage to their folds, and they don't go back into speaking or singing until 4 to 6 months after. So normally what we do is we assess it and see, okay, what is the severity of it, and try our best, but we still have to make sure that we dot every I and cross every T.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't, because of fraud situations,
Yeah.
right? And just making sure we go through the necessary steps to just make sure that all of the clients that we have, that we're able to make sure that we can serve them quickly,
Right.
especially if you're a high performing speaker or singer, but at the same time too, they have to understand the integrity of it as well. Do you understand?
Mhm.
Makes
Yeah,
perfect
that
sense.
makes sense.
Yeah.
You told us about your biggest crisis story
Yeah.
that you saw with celebrities. What about your biggest success story?
Yeah. Man, I have a lot of them.
We know you do.
I think one of the highlights for me is when I had a chance to work with Patti LaBelle. I think, I worked with her in the Grammys last year, and I think that was really cool because she's an icon. And
Right.
and then of course my godmother was the legendary Betty Wright, who was the first millionaire artist on her own label to go gold. And I traveled with her for 17 years and was able to learn a lot about the industry. And then of course now I think one of the biggest things is working with people like Neo now and stuff like that.
Literally helping him.
And literally
today
like walking and helping
at a
him and
crisis.
everything like that.
Oh, we're
you
dropping
know.
that affiliate link below, by the way.
But yeah, like I think Patti was a big highlight for me. And just doing Grammys, I think that was a big highlight for me in the music world.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked with a lot of high end speakers, especially pastors. So Darius Daniels is one of my clients. Neo is one of my clients. So but I would say Patti for now, and Queen Latifah. Working with her too.
fun.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot of highlights.
yeah, I'm about to say that's a lot.
Uh,
So you said something about you said the word millionaire. So it just brought me to one of the questions. I want to make sure we ask you this. One of our final questions that we ask all guests. I know you personally. I know you're going to be doing at least 6 figures a month every month this year, which will make you a Melanin millionaire, right? So my question is, what does being a Melanin millionaire mean to you?
Woo! Being a Melanin millionaire means to me, first and foremost, one of the things I want to do is retire my mom. That's my why, because I'm single. I don't have any children as of yet. So retiring my mom. I really also, too, I'm going to be the first millionaire in my family. Well, first billionaire, too.
Oh,
hey! Black billionaire. Somebody give us a shirt.
Somebody give us a
Black billionaire.
I've been a multiple 6-figure earner for years. You know what I mean? And I'm bored of making 6 figures.
You said that earlier.
So I said it earlier in stage, right? So because of that, for me, it means creating a whole new narrative for my family.
Yeah.
Right? My mother, all I've seen her do is work. You know, she's a baby boomer, so they don't know anything. Entrepreneurship is a curse word. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, for her to see that, wait a minute, this thing works. Like my daughter's doing this, it really works. And I think also to people like myself and creatives, because I really have this thing for creatives. I'm tired of seeing the feast and famine cycle with creatives, of being starving creatives. And so I want to change the narrative of that too, that we can be creative and we can be
Run up a bag at the same time.
and run a bag at the same time, and just leaving a legacy. I think this is legacy for me. The fact that I get a chance to sit with you all and have an imprint right here on this or the podcast is legacy for me. So I think, and then also giving back, because I'm really big on philanthropy work. And so I help orphans in Haiti, and I want to be able to literally fund them for the rest of their lives until they're 18 and they're able to do whatever they want to. I do it now, but I want to be able to do all the children that do that. So it's a lot that it means to me. Giving back.
Thank you for sharing.
You know,
I love that. And it's so interesting that you say, I'm just intrigued by that, because you're saying that, you know, Betty is family and your daughter traveling. And so like, it's kind of looking at the full generational wealth picture. Was like money a conversation growing up?
Money was never, the only conversation that money was you had to go to college, get a 4-year degree, go work for somebody. Like I was never taught financial literacy. So I made a lot of mistakes in business. I lost a lot of money in business because so that's why mentorship is so important for me. And I think it also means for me getting more mentorship.
Absolutely.
You know, like just sitting at the feet of people and learning. I love to learn. But I was never taught financial literacy. So money was never a conversation in my family. And it still isn't.
It can change with you.
It has to change.
What's the quote? Poverty ran into my family until it ran into me.
Until it ran into me.
You know what I'm saying? Get away from here. You know.
So for the entrepreneurs who are listening, we know you certify vocal coaches. So can you tell us what's the process like to get certified, and what can they kind of expect to make, ballpark?
Absolutely. So it's a three phases. The first one is DIY, do it yourself. So they actually go on a course. They can sign up for that. They have 90 days to do phase 1. All right. And after they do that, then they go through phase 2. And this is where I have my master instructors that are under me that actually teach those courses. That's a 6-month course. And then the phase 3 is when you become a master instructor. That's another 6 months, because it's literally taken about 4 years of information and putting it into a year and a half. Right. And so it's intense. It's intense. And then after that, you know, I also invite them to join my inner circle so that they can actually walk closely with me for a year, right? Because even though they're doing the phases, they don't get all access to me. But if they do my inner circle, they get all access to me while still getting certification. So it's like a win-win for them.
So like roughly, this is new information to me. So roughly, what can they expect to make like coming out of the program?
Coming out of it, if they work it, and because I also teach the business of vocal coaching. So it's not just about, hey, do this with clients, but I also teach them.
Your hourly rate.
No. I teach them how to become their own bosses, how to build curriculums, develop them, and then how to price and everything like that. They can make clearly up to $10,000, $20,000 a month. And if they learn HTO, like high ticket offers, they can make sky's the limit.
I love that.
And I do have I have 30 right now in my inner circle. I have about 20 coaches outside of that are under me and certified. And 10 of them right now are in my inner circle of the 20 that got certified and teach for me.
Now do that math. Y'all see, it could be a very profitable business. That math is mathing right there.
It's
that new real sound.
And there's a misconception that, you know, vocal coaches are just this menial. No.
And it's needed. So
it's
you're now the Airbnb tour of vocal.
Come on, I like that. I received that. That's what it is.
But I think that's you gave us a great perspective shift. You know, the celebrity vocal coach, Mrs. Shady. I just want to personally thank you.
Oh, thank you.
For coming onto the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for tuning in. And other than that, I think we can wrap, y'all.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Peace.
you.
Peace.